Hi everyone, good morning, happy weekend. So today we just thought of having a conversation around the design thinking and innovation management, and this can be coming from multiple perspectives, either as a scrum master or as a product owner, product manager, or as an engineering manager, or even as a team member, agile coach, whatever the role we are playing, we may have to make the team or make the organization go through these design thinking concepts or the innovation management. That's where just thought of having a quick conversation, not just in detail. We will just try to go through high level and to make it interactive so that like we will get to know what's going on from your perspective, how you are handling the design thinking. Have you got a chance to implement or apply anything from your side, and accordingly we can go it further. Right. So, a quick question: where are you connecting from? I'm from Hyderabad, as many of you might be already aware.
I'm from Bangalore.
Bangalore. Okay.
I am from Mumbai.
Mumbai. Meghna from Mumbai. Who is that from Bangalore? Is it Murli? No.
Siraj.
Siraj. Hi, Siraj.
From Hyderabad. Yes.
I am from
Ajit.
Hyderabad.
Malesh from Hyderabad. Ajit from Hyderabad.
This is Murali from Chennai.
Murli from Chennai. Okay. Oh, Murli, by any chance you're Murli Narayana Butler?
Yes. Murali from
Okay.
Narayanan. Yeah. We had this previous interaction, right? I hope you remember
Yes.
regarding
Yes.
my resume.
Yes. Hi, Murli.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Santosh from Pune.
I think might be due to the power fluctuations, as Satish had mentioned at the start of the call. I think he's frozen.
I'm back, folks. You're able to hear me now?
Yeah. Very much.
Yes. So there's a power fluctuation. So that's the reason we are still doing that icebreaker or the connection. So, okay, yes. So this is about me. I don't want to go in detail, but like one of the thing which where I learned more about design thinking, the innovation management is like recently I did a course through IIM Lucknow where the course is specifically about the design thinking and innovation management. So as part of my day-to-day implementation as a safe practice consultant, as an agile coach, as a product coach, I worked more from the product teams, the product managers, product owners, and where we started helping them do that discovery and the delivery phase. That's where we are going to discuss today. Right. So to get started, share any innovative idea as per you, which was implemented. It could be your company or it could be your day-to-day life or anything. Any innovative idea do you think as per you, which you want to share? I'm turning off my video. There is no power here. You can chat or you can unmute and speak or you can share.
So, like with my teams, I have started having the release level view while
Mm-hmm,
while start of the iteration,
mm-hmm,
so that team can have the predictability of what we are going to implement in the coming iterations.
mm,
Uh,
mm-hmm,
Although the backlog might not be ready,
mm-hmm,
but they will be having a idea of what exactly we are going to do in the coming iterations,
mm-hmm,
and in this way we were able to plan our upcoming releases very properly.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Excellent,
I
excellent.
felt this was helpful today.
Mm-hmm. So, what is the outcome of that, Hari, once you started sharing that with your team?
Okay, so before this there was very confusion state in the team. Like they didn't know what we are planning for the coming iterations and how we are going to do. So there was no clarity. But after doing this, team had a good understanding exactly why we are doing this, what are the things we are planning for upcoming iterations. So clarity was good. So this way,
Okay.
they use it to, if any other product user stories to come between, and then we used to keep it on hold and see if it is aligned with our plan or not. So our planning, our clarity improved.
Mm-hmm. Thanks. Excellent. Excellent. Anyone else? Anyone else want to share?
Yeah, I can say something so this. I'm not sure whether it is innovative or not, but kind of doing the repetitive task is a cumbersome always. So
Mm-hmm.
came up with automation approach through AI
Mm-hmm.
to make the things faster, and which used to take actually 4 to 5 hours. It
Mm,
is happening in 10 minutes.
mm. Yes. 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 Definitely. So that is also helping the team. See, innovation management might not be and need not be only from the team perspective, right? So the time which your team was able to save by using that AI tools or any automation, they should be able to spend on additional aspects, right? Which might help them get some breathing space or some additional time to focus on what they can work on or how they want to handle it further, right? Yes. Thanks, Hari and Ajit. Anyone else want to share? Okay. So that innovation, let me see if there is any responses in the making repetitive tasks automated to save time. Yes. So um, from my perspective, right? So what do you say? Like the Uber or Zomato or Google Maps, all these are innovative ideas, or even the Zoom to that matter, right? The tools which we are using, everything is innovative idea. Somewhere someone might have started thinking about it, which might have made them go through and start figuring out why can't we do it, or do we need to do it only this way? Do we need to do only the typical structured process or the approach? So that is where the innovative idea or innovation is all coming to that matter, right? So uh, the first step from that design thinking perspective is empathize with the customers or with the end users or the folks with whom we have that problem or with they're going through any problem or any issues as such. Then comes the define and the ideate as the next step, and prototype, test, and implement. And this is a continuous cycle. It's not like one time activity, one time discussion and get it done. No, not at all. Right? So we need to start. First step is like start empathizing with the customers or the end users or the problem statement, what we are trying to address. Right. So from the just giving SSAG gurus as an example, right? So we identified, we addressed it, there is some gap or there is something needs to be connected with the way people like us who it is like looking for a job opportunity or looking for an opportunity to discuss or share the problem statements or any challenges or any issues. That's where we started discussing and we started creating it as a small group and which now started as a community. Yes, Murali?
It might not be a relevant question, but I just want to understand. See, what is the difference between design thinking, that is whatever we are discussing right now, to the automation process?
Yes, we will discuss that. We will discuss on that part.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you.
Sure. Okay. Okay. Your question is like, what is the difference between design thinking and automation process, right?
Yes, Santosh. That's my question.
Okay. Okay. Sure. We can discuss on that. See, design thinking, it doesn't mean it's just only about the automation. It is about like how differently, how effectively we are solving the customer's problem, right? The customer can be anything or anyone, right? So to that point, like this session itself is like an example, right? So if you observe, like first I launched a poll in the safe mentoring group, which of the topics you want to discuss, rather than me going and saying that, okay, let's go this webinar or this session this weekend, right? So that is where I figured out what is relevant or what could be helpful or useful from you as a participant, rather than just saying that, okay, I have the WGF template ready, so let's go ahead and do that session, right? So that's where, from this session perspective, I started doing that empathy. Empathy is like understanding what is the end user's expectations, what is the end user's perspective, what can help, what can benefit the end user, the target end user. That is what is the empathy step. Right? That doesn't mean or need not be only the automation. It could be anything related to the matter. Right? Does it answer your question, Murli?
See, yeah, not exactly. So sorry to interrupt this. See, in automation process, what you used to do, we irrespective of agile or waterfall, okay, we understand the client system, and we what we do is we initiate. For example, if they are taking too much of time with respect to update one query in their system, what we'll do is we dig into that process. We do some permutation or combination of the SQLs in order to fetch the query easily. This is what in general, this is what we do as an automation process, right? So by understanding the client environment, client system, what is client need, and then we do something in order to make that is easier to the client. This is what in my understanding, this is what we call as an automation. Okay, so design thinking is see, I'm new to this. I just want to learn about design thinking. Probably my question might be wrong. I just want to understand what I know with what we are discussing. So, how this is in that is in deviation with what I know about automation. That is what my question is all about. Yeah, that is the question. Okay, probably my
Sure.
yeah.
Sure. Let's go through the session, the topic, and if in case you still have the question towards the end, we can discuss, or maybe we can connect one-on-one also. Right.
Yeah,
So
sure.
let
Thank you.
sure. So thanks for bringing that question. Right. So let's see what is required from the topics perspective, and automation is one of the aspects. Right. It's not the only aspect where how we can do that innovation or anything as such. Right. So yeah. So empathize. So that's what the first step, empathy, understanding that the customer's perspective, where uh, typically we as a scrum master or product owner or project manager or agile coach, we might not be involved in that perspective. So, but the empathy step is the very, very, very important aspect. So from the end user perspective, let's suppose a banking application. Right. So I typically we take a banking example because it is easy, or it is a simple example to discuss it. Right. So as a banking ICICI, for example, if you take ICICI as an example, every now and then ICICI as a bank, they might be bringing up a new feature or a new functionality, or maybe enhancing or revising or rewriting the existing functionality. What basis they have to do that, or what basis they will be doing that prioritization, or they will be doing that, this is the feature, this is the functionality which needs to be addressed or delivered to the customer. That is where the step of empathy coming into context. Typically, the customer analysis team or customer insights team, there might be the different naming convention from the organization's perspective. That is where they start doing that analysis, the market analysis, the research, the customer analysis, even the competitor analysis also we have to do. Let's suppose if you are ICICI Bank, what is it HSBC is doing? What is Axis Bank is doing? What is HDFC is doing? What the other bank is doing from this specific functionality? How how which we can be doing it, or what is that we have to think, or what is it we have to understand, is what the empathy as a step coming to context, right? So for that, we might not be involved, but what happens is like we will be getting the inputs, we will be getting the information from this market analysis team or the customer insights team, whoever is there involved in the organization perspective. Right? So our role might be most of the cases uh, might be coming uh, uh, majority of the cases our role might be coming from the defined step, or not even from the defined step, the implementation step, where the ideate or prototype is where our role might be coming up. So empathize or the defined step, we might not be even involved, or we might not be even aware if it is happening in the organization perspective. Right? If you're a Scrum Master, so the defined step is being done by the product owner or product manager, right? So we might not be even involved. We might not be even aware that on what basis the product manager is prioritizing the features or the user story, right? You're getting the point.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So let me try to bring up that. Couldn't I couldn't locate this Excel. We did one exercise, like we prepared a what do you say, the assuming that we got the feedback from the customer, different customers, and I prepared an Excel, but somehow that Excel was lost. So what this what I did as part of this is like I had given this Excel as an input to the ChatGPT, right? And what I asked is like, hey, considering the input from the attached document, define the personas customer journey map for the rural market launch and expansion perspective. I'm still taking the banking example, right? So from a banking perspective, this is the feedback we are getting from the rural market. Rural market is like the villages and the cities, right? So where, what sort of expectation the customers or the people who are living in that localities or in that location, in that market, what is their perspective? What might be beneficial for them? What is what is the helpful features or functionality for them? So that is what I gave it as an input. Let me try to look at that Excel. And I asked the ChatGPT to help me create the persona and the customer journey map. What is the persona? The persona is like a fictional character. Right? So let's suppose here the example is like the farmer. So as a bank, we might have calculated, sorry, we might have captured the feedback from maybe 1 lakh farmers. So every time we might not be able to reference, every time we might not be able to go through each and every input or the pointer or the feedback captured by that 1 lakh farmers as a customer. So for that reason, what we generally do is like we prepare a persona, a fictional character representing our end user. Right? Are we good till now? So the persona is like based upon the information, based upon the feedback we capture from the customers, we create a simple fictional character stating that, hey, whenever you are going and implementing your user story, your features, bring in your persona into the context. Right? So at the team level, we talk about the user story. What the user story should be. As a user, we want to do this so that we will get this benefit. So instead of user, we can replace as Ramesh or as a farmer. I want to do this so that I can get that benefit. Like that, we have another user as Sita, the small business owner, as Anand, the daily wage worker. So these are the different personas based upon which we capture the different information or the different feedback based upon the customer analysis which we as a bank perform, and we generated these to start working on that implementation part. Yes, Pranay.
Yeah, so what if, Satish, if we would like to conduct the design thinking session? So for the first maybe a couple of hours, we'll have to spend time with POs and get all this information. Once we have information, then after we'll go with all these steps, right?
Yes. See, for that, we can do that design thinking workshop in multiple ways. So today I haven't prepared multiple slides. I just want to focus on the theory, the concepts. So that's the reason I haven't prepared any slide. I will try to prepare and share it. But the concept is yes. So these are the different steps which we have to go through. First step is like empathize or understand what is the problem statement we are solving. Either we ourselves as a team can start listing down the pointers or the feedback which we are capturing, or go ahead and talk to the actual customers and get the feedback from them directly.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So that it might take its own time. See, I'm just telling you an example of like 1 lakh customer feedback. 1 lakh customer feedback, it might take a month or 2 months or 3 months to capture that. It might not happen in 1 day or 2 days. Right? So there are different ways how we can do that, capturing the feedback. We can send a simple form, Google form or an Excel form, or like the way how I read in the group. I can just launch a poll, or I can we can even call the customers and ask that, or we can go and do the observation of what they are doing in their day-to-day life. Accordingly, also we can also do that.
Sure.
Right? So, are you good till now?
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. So there's a small video regarding that empathizing step. Let's take a look at that. In that video. Yes. Is the video. Let's take a look at it. Let me stop sharing and share along with the sound. Let me know once the video starts playing whether you're able to hear the sound or not.
Tonight, the deep dive, one company's secret weapon for innovation. We went to IDEO, the product design folk, and said, take something old and familiar, like, say, the shopping cart, and completely redesign it for us in just 5 days. ABC News correspondent Jack Smith tells us what happened next.
9 in the morning, day one, and these people have a deadline to meet.
So welcome to the kickoff of the shopping cart project.
This is Palo Alto, California, in the heart of Silicon Valley, and these are designers at IDEO, probably the most influential product development firm in the world. IDEO has designed everything from high-tech medical equipment to the 25-foot mechanical whale in the movie Free Willy, and the first computer mouse for Apple. Smith ski goggles, Nike sunglasses, NEC computer screens, hundreds of products we take for granted.
Stop wasting time applying for jobs on LinkedIn or Naukri or other online job portals. You know why?
The point is that we're not actually experts at any given area. You know, we're kind of experts on the process of how you design stuff. So we don't care if you give us a toothbrush, a toothpaste tube, a tractor, a space shuttle, you know, a chair. It's all the same to us. We want to figure out how to innovate by using our process, applying it.
Project leader is Peter Skillman, a 35-year-old Stanford engineer. Project leader because he's good with groups, not because of seniority. He's only been at IDEO for 6 years. The rest of the team is eclectic, but that's typical here. Whitney Mortimer, Harvard MBA. Peter Coughlin, linguist. Tom Kelly, Dave's brother, marketing expert. Jane Fulton-Suri, psychologist. Alex Kazaks, 26, a biology major, who's turned down medical school 3 times because he's having too much fun at IDEO. Safety emerges early as an important issue.
22,000 child injuries a year, and so they're hospitalized injuries. I mean, there are many others.
And theft. It turns out a lot of carts are stolen. As the team works, it becomes clear there are no titles here, no permanent assignments.
On the other side,
folks, you're able to follow the video?
Yeah.
Yes. So here, as we observed in the video, right? So they got 5 days to redesign the shopping cart, right? So shopping cart, we know the typical thing whenever we go to any mall or any supermarket, we use that. So the problem statement they started is to redesign the shopping cart. Why? 2 major problem statement: 22,000 child injuries because of the current design of the shopping cart and the theft of the shopping cart. So these are the 2 main problem statements they want to address as part of this design thinking workshop. Okay, and they came up with a clear timeline, within that 5 days, they want to redesign it and ideate, prototype, implement, and figure out, capture the feedback also from the customers, and then go ahead into that implementation. Okay, let's continue it.
Gives us a lot of help, says, be safe. I'll give you a big red ball on a post, and that says you're a big guy. If you got a ball, you're a senior vice president. You know, what do I care? The desk, the red ball, it's all the same. In a very innovative culture, you can't have a kind of hierarchy of here's the boss and the next person down, the next person down, the next person down, because it's impossible that the boss is the one who's had the insightful experience with shopping carts. It's just not possible.
The team splits into groups to find out firsthand what the people who use, make, and repair shopping carts really think.
Okay, go.
The problem with the plastic cart is the wind catches it. Yeah. And these things have been clocked at 35 across the parking lot.
Oh, man, that's actually a pretty good point. The trick is to find these real experts, and so that you can learn much more quickly than you could by just kind of doing it in the normal way and trying to learn about it yourself.
From everything I read, these things aren't that safe either, you know? So probably the seat itself is going to have to be redesigned.
One of the interesting things for me is looking at how people really don't like to let go of the cart, except for the professional shopper, whose strategy is to leave the cart at various places.
3:30 in the afternoon, and the group is back at IDEO. There is no let-up.
Each team is going to demonstrate and communicate and share everything that they've learned today.
A shopping cart has been clocked at 35 miles an hour traveling through a parking lot in the wind.
We were in the store, 2 hours, and it was truly frightening just to see the kind of stuff going on.
You ought to designate some people to make damn sure that the store owner's point of view is represented.
After 9 straight hours, the team is tired. They call it a day.
So,
everybody cool?
Well, that's great. Thanks a lot. We had a great time today. Yeah.
So what is it they did on the day 1? They went and had the direct interaction with the end users who are using the shopping carts as a customer, who are gathering all the shopping carts, the storekeepers, and then the repair guys who go through the repair of those shopping carts. So they are capturing all the required information, how the customers are using versus what could be the typical repairs, how many times or what the major repairs every time the shopping cart has to go through, or how a storekeeper employee will consolidate all the shopping carts and bring it back to the store, everything directly in person. right? So, of course, for us, it might not be possible or feasible everything we have to do or the organization has to do because we are sitting in India and we might be working for a US project, UK project, or Singapore or Australia project. So that is where the team who is working at that specific location, either they will be doing this part of analysis or the activity, or that customer insights team, what I mentioned about in the beginning, right? They might be capturing the feedback from the customers, the end users of our product in the different perspectives, different forms, or the different ways of capturing and consolidating that feedback. Okay.
IDEO's mantra for innovation is written everywhere. One conversation at a time. Stay focused. Encourage wild ideas. Defer judgment. Build on the ideas of others.
That's the hardest thing for people to do, is to restrain themselves from criticizing an idea. So if anybody starts to nail an idea, they get the bell, you know.
The ideas pour out and are posted on the walls.
Oh, the blind, the privacy blind. Like when you're buying 6 cases of condoms, no one sees. If it doesn't nest, we don't have a solution.
Organized chaos. It's not organized. What it is it's focused chaos.
Vote with your Post-it, not with an idea that's cool, but with an idea that's cool and buildable. If it's too far out there and it can't be built in a day, then I don't think we should vote on it. Enlightened trial and error succeeds over the planning of lone genius.
Enlightened trial and error succeeds over the planning of the lone genius. If anything sums up IDEO's approach, that is it. Worried that the team is drifting, what can only be called a group of self-appointed adults under Dave Kelly holds an informal side session.
4 or 5 teams. 4 or 5 teams, and we give each team a need area. It becomes very autocratic for a very short period of time in defining what things people are going to work on.
If you don't work under time constraints, you could never get anything done because it's a messy process and go on forever.
Back at the shop, it is 6 o'clock, and the 4 mock-ups are ready for showing.
Baskets also can be, if you think you will have more volume, baskets can be put in.
A modular shopping cart you pile hand baskets onto. A high-tech cart that gets you through the traffic jam at checkout.
That you could mount a scanner on the shopping cart so that you as the customer, as you pull it off the shelf, would scan each item.
One that's built around child safety, and another that lets shoppers talk to the supermarket staff remotely.
Yeah, where can I find the yogurt?
But the adults, again, decide more work needs to be done before the mock-ups can be combined into one last prototype.
Why don't we have all the carts come up here for a second?
I think you take a piece of each.
So now you observe like how the different ideas were given by the different teams. So the same folks, they split among themselves into different teams, irrespective of the role they are playing. And they started coming up with a different thought process, each of them. And if you observed, any of you are at US, so you might have observed, at Amazon store, there is one Amazon store where the moment you keep anything in the cart, automatically it will be calculated to the idea, your shopping bill. If you remove it, automatically it will be detected. So that might be taken from one of these ideas. So it is like reinventing the existing solution or just bringing up the new solution altogether. It could be anything. So that's just thought of adding some pointers in the middle. Okay.
Each one of these ideas and kind of back it off a little bit and then put it in the design.
The design is still not there. But there's another motto at IDEO: fail often in order to succeed sooner. And some of the team will be up half the night trying to put together a design that finally does work.
There it is! There it is! So we took the best elements out of each prototype.
The cart, which is designed to cost about the same as today's carts, is different in every other way.
What do you think?
Well, I'm very proud of the team. I think it's great.
Does this work for you?
Works for me great. Yeah. It's also beautiful.
The cart's wheels turn 90 degrees so it can move sideways. No more lifting up the rear in a tight spot. And you shop in a totally different way. The bags are hung on hooks on the cart's frame. Remember, there is no basket here.
At first, I was a little shocked, but I think you have some fantastic ideas here. it needs a little refining, but I think that it's great. I mean, we would want them.
She also gave us some really good comments about how we can make this thing better.
A lot of hours. Also, an open mind, a boss who demands fresh ideas be quirky and clash with his, a belief that chaos can be constructive, and teamwork, a great deal of teamwork. And these are the recipe for how innovation takes place. This is Jack Smith for Nightline in Palo Alto, California.
That's about the video, guys. Any question? Anything you want to add before we continue?
So Satish, I have one question, like how this all came up within 5 days. I should
Yes.
be more, right? Just
Ajit, your voice is very low.
yeah, I was thinking that how it came up everything in 5 days. It should be more because they're explaining it. So I think it should be more time than 5 days. Just one thought.
So again, it might be like, see, the day one they spent on understanding the problem statement, and then going and doing that, talking to that actual customers in different forms. Then day two onwards, they started doing that prototyping. I mean, ideating and then the prototype. So as you can see, right, this whole exercise, starting from empathizing, define, ideate, prototype, test, and implement. Test till test is where they completed in that 5 days, right? So they are doing a small prototype, not the entire implementation, which means they came up with one idea of like, yes, I mean, from 4 or 5 different ideas, they came up with what could be the actual idea which we can go ahead and implement. Right?
Kind
So
of
the
MVP.
implementation take its own time.
Okay, it's kind of MVP, right? Like
It's sort
minimum
of
viable.
MVP. Yeah, exactly. It's sort of an MVP or prototype or a POC. That yes, this is how we can do it. This is how we can go ahead and start with the implementation. This is not the full-fledged implementation. No, we are not targeting, we are not implementing, or we are not focusing on that everything to be done within that 5 days. No, right? So that coming up with that MVP or prototype or POC or that first cut, what it should look like is what they targeted within that 5 days. Okay. See, for example, like Murali was talking about that automation, right, earlier. So understanding that where the customers or where the team is going through the repetitive task, what can be automated, what needs to be, what tool we can start implementing. That is what we can go through this exercise or the activity, and they can do a prototype, small prototype or a POC to the client, stating that, hey, you know what, this is the time. Let's suppose it might be taking 2 days to complete this execution, whereas with the help of automation, we were able to execute in X amount of time for set of use cases. We are not doing the entire automation or entire implementation. We are just doing a prototype and showcasing that, yes, this is what is happening right now versus this is what we can do in a different way. And this could be the results. Once that is done, we can go ahead and get the buy-in or the support or the approval. We can go ahead with the actual implementation. Does it answer your question, Ajit?
Yeah.
Good. Any other question? Murli, your question, is it clarified now or still you have some more questions on that?
Yes, Satish, it's clarified.
Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you.
good. Sure. So, guys, so here in the video of the shopping cart, they showcase that like 5 days. So some companies, like I was with Teradata earlier, so we used to have like a this innovation week, and in my previous banking client, we used to have like hackathons or innovation week, or like we used to call it as like a design week, where the team was given the time and opportunity to start thinking about what problems they want to solve and how they want to go ahead with that. When I say the problems, it should be relevant to the current product or the current client whom we are working with. Right? When we are working for a banking client, we can't go and say, hey, let's bring up an autonomous car, something similar to Tesla. No, that's not our cup of tea. Right? So we are banking product, or especially like the rural market example which I gave, right? So if you're targeting that, expanding our presence in the rural market, we need to start empathizing from that step. What could be the typical folks from rural market might be experiencing or expecting? The farmers or the daily wage laborers or a small business owner, what is their expectations? What is their perspectives? What needs to be done? Something different, something useful from their perspective, we need to start doing that perspective. Right? Are you good?
Yes.
Okay. So this is one of the best example from India perspective, where like the Tata Sumo, right? So one of the executive of the Tata, every day from the lunchtime used to go out of his office. Only from morning till lunchtime he used to be at office. So he used to go out of office every day. So his team, his colleagues, his peers used to think he might be going for lunch with his executives or with his clients, or he might be spending his family time, or he's doing something else. But what happened is like he used to go and talk to the truck driver at the dabas or the different restaurants outside the city, where they are planning to, the Tata, they are planning to reinvent the way they are designing the trucks. Right? So how he used to go and talk to them as a common individual. He never used to introduce that, hey, I'm an executive from Tata. No, he never used to introduce himself. Instead, he used to talk like a common people so that he will get the actual reality, actual problem statement, what the truck drivers are going through. He used to say that, hey, I am planning to buy a truck next week. What truck are driving? How comfortable are you with the truck? Do you recommend this truck for me to buy? Or like uh, how much mileage it is giving? Or what do you think something can be done differently to help you drive better the truck? So that way, every day he used to go and talk to them. He used to get that information. He used to capture that. And by taking that as a base, they redesigned one of their Tata truck, and that's why they named one of the vehicle on his name as Tata Sumo. His name is Sumant Molgokar. So taking that first alphabets from his name, first name and last name, it was named as a Tata Sumo. This is the Indian example from where we are not talking about the current trend. This is happened way, way, way long ago, where we are not even having any of these tools or any of this AI or automation or anything. Right? So which means this design thinking, innovation is there from way long ago. Right? Are you good?
Yes.
See, one of the simple example from this the design thinking. This is one of the university in US or UK, I don't remember. They came up with the cover for the bicycle seat. All the university students, they use the bicycle within the university. During the rainy season or during the summer, we know like how tough it is to ride that bicycle when it is wet or when it is too hot. So they came up with a small, simple idea. They have all that stands to park their bicycles. They just cover that seat part so that it won't become wet or it won't become heat in that summer time. That's it, right? They haven't reinvented everything, a brand new product altogether. The existing problem, they have taken it. They came up with that innovative idea. Right? So that is where, when I started the session, I was like telling Google Maps or Zomato or Uber or any such thing is like an innovative idea. We never asked them to do it, or Truecaller to that matter, right? So how it is helping us in day-to-day life by identifying the fake calls or the spam calls even without answering. That is that innovation. Like, start thinking our day-to-day perspective, or start thinking what's the problems your customers are facing. Your customers in the sense, your actual end users of your products. It will help us as a team think out of box and start figuring out what needs to be done differently, what we can do effectively, what we can do to help improve the customer satisfaction, that net promoter score, or onboarding the new customers, or anything as such. Right? Are you good?
Yes.
Yes. So from that matter, let me bring up a small persona which I prepared, which I generally use for any of the discussion. Where is that? Just a minute. Yes. So you're able to see the Excel?
Yes, yeah.
Yes. So let's say I am assuming myself that I am a product manager. So this is the vision I got from the bank. This is the customer segmentation, and this is the strategy statement which the bank as an organization has defined. So I am the product manager for one of the modules to launch that consumer banking. So within the bank, we have like different sectors or different sections like wealth management, retail management, a small business, or consumer banking. So I'm assuming myself as a product manager for that consumer banking module. So for that, what I started doing, I might have captured that customer feedback, or I might be have observed what is that the users are targeting or releasing, or what is the competitors are doing. So I started defining the personas from my own side. Like, what is the persona again? A simple fictional character which helps us think from the end user perspective, which helps us from the be in that end user context, end user perspective throughout the implementation. And this is the persona we should be using it throughout our end-to-end implementation at the feature level, at the user story level. That way, not just me as a product manager, even the teams, even the developers, even the tester or the architect, everyone will be aware of that, what is that the persona is. So what's the persona? Kranti, the consumer. So she's a working mom having two kids of age 8 and 5 years. So she's doing work from home and she's having busy schedules with office work and kids. She would like to place an online order for required items like groceries, fruits, vegetables, milk, online shopping for other required items. She would like to pay the amount to the orders so that she can avoid managing the exact amount of cash or change at home. That is her context. How many of us can correlate with this example? Obviously, right? So we might not be a mom, we might be a dad, still we might be in the similar context, similar perspective, right? So that is where, like, by taking that 1 lakh customers feedback, if we started creating a persona like this, next time when we start defining the features, we'll say, hey, ask Kranti. The moment we mention Kranti, is okay, yes, he's a working dad or a working mom with two kids. So they want to place the order, they want to get these type of products, and they want to pay the amount without adding the okay, looks like I missed one line. Okay, so they would like to pay the order amount without adding that contact to their account. See how typically it happens whenever it is the whenever we have to do a bank transaction, we have to add them to our account only then we should be able to do the payment, right? So this is during the COVID I created this. So I'm just taking that COVID example, right? So during the COVID, all of us, whether we like it or not, we started adopting to that more orders, either any of the app, like whether Swiggy, Zomato, or Big Basket, or Amazon, or any of those things. So for that order, we might want to be doing a cash on delivery order. So every time, if you are placing 10 orders per month, for example, every time adding a new delivery agent and every time doing the payment, that itself might take its own time. Instead, if we can let the customer pay the amount without adding them to the a bank account, that itself will solve their problem, right? So should be able to check the balance quickly in the application. Would like to pay without adding the number as contact. Yes, this is the point I was telling about. Text is a preferred communication, as I might not be checking my emails regularly due to busy work schedule. I would like to minimize usage of cash as precaution regarding COVID-19 and also to avoid maintaining exact change or cash at home. This is what the perspective of that specific customer or that consumer. So by taking this as the base, now we will start defining what should be the features, what should be the the user stories. Which set of user stories should go into the first release, whether it is MVP or the first version or the first release or anything as such. Right? We are good?
Yes.
So this is the same example I was talking about from the other thing. So here, the bank wants to expand into a rural market. So the rural market customers or the actual end users or the farmers, the type of farmers, the small business owners, and the daily wage workers. So these are the three different types of personas or the end users, which we started capturing their goal versus the pain points, right? So a limited time to visit the bank branch, right? And the lack of trust in digital banking and irregular income. These are the pain points from their perspective. And what is their goal? To save money for future needs and send money to family members quickly and receive wages directly into the bank account. So this is the from the daily wage worker perspective, right? From the business owner perspective, manage business finances efficiently, access small business loans and credit, make business quick and secure transactions. The pain point, unreliable internet connectivity, limited financial literacy, difficulty in tracking multiple transactions. From the farmer perspective, easily access financial services without traveling long distances. This is really, really true because they might be doing the farming at the outside the cities or the villages. If they have to do any financial transaction, they have to visit the branch, stop their work and visit the branch and do the transaction. Again, they have to travel back, right? They get the loans and save money securely and earn interest. So what is their pain point? Lack of nearby branches, limited understanding of digital banking, difficulty in navigating complex mobile banking apps. Now, if we are a team, we have to start coming up with the new product or enhance the existing online banking product for these three personas, the farmer, the small business owner, or the daily wage workers. Now you are getting idea. So this is the same way the context was set to that IDEO team that 22,000 injuries are happening for the children across the years and the theft of the shopping carts are happening. So the context, the empathy part was already done and that context was set to the teams who has to start doing that ideation part. Now we have to start doing that ideation. So these are the pain points. These are the target customers. These are the pain points. These are a goal and goal which or outcome which they are looking for. So how do we start working on that rather than just going and implementing whatever we like to or whatever we want to implement. We are going into the step what could be the effectiveness, what could help the end user satisfaction perspective. Right? Are we good?
Yes.
Yes. So that is where that empathy step was done, and now is the time. The define, ideate, and prototype and test is where we as a team, whatever the role we are playing, we as an organization, we as a team might be involved in these 4 steps of defining, ideate, prototype, and test. Again, define step, majority of the cases, only the product folks and the architects might be involved. But my suggestion or recommendation is like, even we also can propose, hey, can we start addressing these tech debt, or can we start uh, solving what's the feedback we are getting from the customers for our past releases? What are the pain points? What are the challenges? What are the problem statements the customers are facing? How can we solve them effectively? Once we start having that conversation, once we start getting that inputs, we can start doing this define, ideate, prototype, and test steps as part of the design thinking activity. And these 4 steps to get complete, we can get it done within 2-3 days or anything as such. No need to spend multiple times.
Satish, can you please reiterate what you said in the last sentence? I am not able to correlate resilience with what you said. Can you please do that?
Which one, Murali?
No, you said right, design, ideate for the problem statement, what we said, right? Empathize. No, that I just want to.
Sure.
Yes.
So, empathize step, we might not be involved or we might not be aware. Even the company is capturing that the problem statements or the pain points of the customers and users for whatever the products we are working upon. So, whatever the information we have, we can start with that, or we can talk to our product owners, product managers, or the architects, or we can try to figure out how we can get that information, the feedback from the end user perspective to the teams. And from there, we can start working upon the define, ideate, prototype, and test for that problem statement within a couple of days. Right. So start the way how that IDEO shopping cart team worked. Right. We started that, okay, this is a problem statement. So for example, keeping that shopping cart aside, I'm telling that, hey, boss, the like all 13 of us are a team who is there in this session. So these are the 3 target customers or the customer segments which we are trying to address, improve our rural banking presence. So I would like all 13 of us to brainstorm the next 2 days and come up with an ideas how that product should look like, or what features we need to even include or implement in the end-to-end implementation perspective. All right. So that's how the discussion starts, and that's how we can propose or recommend, if in case the design thinking or activities are not happening or not encouraged in your teams, we can take one of that problem statement and we can quickly do that prototyping and showcase that, and we can start getting that support or involvement or from the leadership side. Right? We are good?
Yes, Satish.
Yes. So now let's say all 13 of us today and tomorrow, if I have to go through this, so we know the pain points, we know the goals. We don't have to implement the entire product. No, that's not the expectation. We have to come up with what should be the features, how the product should look like by taking the pain points. See, the lack of trust in digital banking, unreliable internet connectivity, or limited understanding of digital banking, difficulty in navigating complex mobile banking apps. Let's suppose our app is already there, launched to the market. We captured the feedback and saying that, hey, you know what? The navigation is very complex, too many steps required to get that done. As a farmer, I am not so well educated, so I don't know how to even navigate, or it is taking too much of my time. Yes, let's take that as a problem statement and see what is the current step our app is having and how we can simplify that steps. Right? Here, another problem statement is unreliable internet connectivity or limited financial literacy, which means the app which we are building should be simple, lightweight, easy to use. Within a step or two, within a couple of easy and effective steps, these type of customers should be able to access, should be able to, what do you say, do their day-to-day transactions. Right? We are good?
Yes, Satish. Please go ahead.
Any other questions before we go ahead?
No.
Okay. Okay. Sure. So the same way, McKinsey came up with 5 different personas for the hiring managers. Right? Let me bring up that picture, the screenshot directly, because it is not clear in the thing. Yes. Right? See, if you are a hiring manager, right? So McKinsey, by doing that analysis across the companies, across industries and sectors, they came up with 5 different personas. Right? So let's suppose you are a hiring manager. What type of employee you are planning to onboard? What type of employee you want to hire? First, the hiring manager need to get that clarity and they need to start doing it. So 5 personas. See, one of the personas is like career-oriented people. They will work full time, and their expectation is the competitive compensation package, perks, status, and career advancement. So this is their expectations, right? So the second person is do it yourself. They prefer the workplace flexibility, meaningful work, and compensation as the top motivators for potentially returning to traditional workforce. Right? The person three is the caregivers and others. They need more flexibility and support than standard employment offering, as they usually left to care for children, parents, or themselves. Right? So when you are defining your job description, when you are planning to do that hiring, we need to start understanding these perspectives, right? And the ideal is they are like the interns or the part-time workers, right? So they might be working only on the weekends or the part-time hours, like 4 hours a day or 2 hours a day sort of thing. Yes. If in case you want to do that, you need to start showcasing that. And then the persona 5 is the relaxers. They're like the traditional people. They don't want to move out of their comfort zone. They just want to continue their way of working. So these are the 5 different personas which McKinsey as a organization came up with the analysis and started sharing with the company saying, hey, you know what? If you're a hiring manager, start defining your persona and start building the product accordingly. Okay. Are you good? Are we on track? Okay, we will answer this question. But yes, so that the thing which I just want to cover, touch base on how we can do that. Okay, so if I go back to the persona, the Excel perspective, so now taking this persona, I came up with the release planning. What is it required and what should be the end user implementation perspective? So I'm going back to the persona again. So the text is the preferred mode of communication. and the customer wants to place the online order for the items like groceries, fruits, vegetables, milk, and other required items. So by taking that as a base, if you observe, add phone number, update phone number, rewards for groceries, rewards for online shopping, recharge mobile, recharge prepaid. So this is the type of features which I started planning from that customer perspective. Why? The customer clearly mentioned they want to make use of text, which means definitely they'll be using the mobile. So for that reason, I want to provide the additional function. They haven't mentioned that they want to recharge the mobile or to whether it is a prepaid or postpaid. So that's the reason I myself, reading between the lines, I started, yes, because they are planning to, make use of the mobile, let's provide that as an additional service in addition to what we are planning to address their pain point or the problem statement. And because these are the type of items they will be placing the orders more frequently, let's provide the rewards or reward points or any offers or deals related to these type of orders rather than giving the rewards for the lens cut, right? So or rewards for OTT, rewards for something else. So every time it's the most common observation, right? So whenever I get a scratch card for any online transaction, I will get that the free 1 year membership for lens card. I already have 10 similar offers from the same lens card. How many memberships can I take as a customer? Right? So instead of providing irrelevant, unrealistic offers or the deals which the customers are not going to make use of it, start understanding what should be the features or the what type of functionalities or what type of orders or the deals which your customers will place, and accordingly we can start providing that functionality to the customer. Right? You're good?
Yes.
Yes. So that is how we can start considering on building that end-to-end product perspective. And again, this is all before the coming into the before the actual implementation. We are doing a small prototype and where we are trying to implement or where we are trying to understand what's the customer's problem statement, what needs to be addressed, how we can start focusing on that. Once that is done, that's when we can start doing that actual implementation. We're good?
Yes, Satish.
Yes. So the next step is the customer journey map. So the customer journey map, let me bring up a picture. Is that? Yeah, I will share about this. I haven't prepared any of the slides. Sorry for that, because I just want to give the walkthrough directly on the website. I haven't did anything as such. Okay, design thinking. Let's see if it comes. If not, okay. Yes. See, the customer journey map looks like this. What is that? What is the target customer group, and what is the end-to-end steps for which the customer will be placing or making use of our application or the solution. So the first step is to start listing down all the steps of the customer journey. from the end user perspective and start listing down what is their perspective at that point of time. Green is like the customer is happy. The amber is like the customer is neutral, whereas the red is like the customer is not happy. The customer is frustrated or irritated with the way we are doing the things, right? So let me bring up with the one small persona, not the persona, the customer journey map, which I try to create. Okay. You're able to see your screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so I haven't completed it because we had a discussion with one of the training institute where they wanted to help with this persona, the student looking for a Scrum Master job opportunity. That's what the use case they have given. So I started discussing or listing down the steps. What is it how to do, and the positive, neutral, or negative, and what's the options they have providing versus what is that training institute the differentiating factors is. So once I started listing, they said, Satish, we don't want to go through it. We will continue with our own way of working. I said, that's fine. It's up to you. Right? So, but what is it we have to do is like, as a customer, what is that they will going through? The positive, the neutral, or the negative? And what's the general options available? There are multiple certifications, multiple courses, or multiple training institutes focusing on them. At the deciding step, as a customer, as a student who want to go through and learn as a Scrum Master role. So the learning step is where they might be deciding about a 2-day certification course, or they might go through like maybe a mentorship session or anything as such. But then here the perspective is like, what is that this training institute is providing something different, something unique to help that students learn from that perspective, then start practicing the concepts, then prepare for that interview, then start attending the interviews, getting the job offer, and complete that journey. Right? What have more than 80 to 90% of that training ensures they're focusing on only on this step. Or some they started expanding the practice and prepare. But as an individual, we have to go through these steps. Attending the interviews and getting the job also is our step, which we as a customer has to go through that journey. That's what the customer journey map is to be from the end user perspective, right? So that's what the perspective we need to start listing down that customer journey map. What each and every step the customer has to go through. What's the pain points? What the problem statement? What opportunities we are bringing to make the customer's life happy or customer's problems solved. That is what this customer journey map is to be deal with. So one of the project where I worked with, we defined the personas, we defined these customer journey maps, and the client, they created that banners and they placed across the floor on the office. So what is on the walls of the office? So on the floor, right? So whenever someone is walking through, it is indirectly giving them the hint. Oh, okay, yes, you know what? This is the customer we are working for. This is the customer we are targeting for. This is the customer whom we are implementing the solution. So it is like a human tendency. We are bringing that psychological reminder every day, every time whenever we walk through that banner that yes, this is the customer we are addressing. So how we can make this customer's life happy or effective, or by improving or by implementing our product in an effective way. That's what this customer journey map is one of the feature or one of the design thinking concept or the approach. Right? We are good?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's about that customer journey map. And yes, so the same tool I started making use of. Hey, consider yourself as a product manager. List down the user stories, dependencies, and acceptance criteria for the above initiatives. List down the output in a tabular format and also plan the user stories in the sprint considering the dependency. So I'm continue using that scenarios or the use case or the personas. I'm taking help of the chat GPT as a tool to help my life make it better. That's what the usage which I'm doing right now by taking help of the tools. Right? Of course, these all the fictional scenarios, fictional feedback, everything is fictional. This is not the actual product, this is not the actual project which I'm working on. This is just to showcase how we can make use of the tools to bring up this design thinking or bring up this innovation or the personas or the customer journey map from the end user implementation perspective. Right? So if in case you want to make use of these tools, see, I asked that include the defined personas for the list of user stories and refine the user story definition accordingly. See, as Ramesh, as Sita, as Anand. So if we can start bringing in that persona into our user story at the story level, at the team level, that will help us understand what the problem statement the customer might be going through, how we can make that story implementation better. See, as Ramesh, I want to easily open a bank account with minimal paperwork so that I can start using banking services quickly. As Sita, I want the mobile banking app to be available in local languages. Sita is a small business owner, so she might not be comfortable with English or Hindi as a language. So we are trying to understand their perspective, and we are even bringing in that language conversion or language specific features or functionalities into our banking app. Right? So that is the way we are doing it. And see, as Sita, I want a simple and user-friendly mobile banking app interface so that I can navigate and perform transactions easily. Here, if you observe, we are telling simple, user-friendly, and easily. That is a very, very, very vague statement. What's define simple, define user-friendly, define easily? There is no definition given there. So here we are giving that app interface is intuitive and easy to navigate. Key functions like balance check, money transfer are accessible within 3 clicks. So that is what we are telling, simple, user-friendly and easy transactions. The key functions should be accessible to any customer within the 3 clicks. It shouldn't take more than 3 steps or 3 clicks within the app. So that is what we are telling, or we are indirectly setting the context to the team that this should be done within the 3 clicks, these type of key functionalities. Right? So that is how we are bringing up that customer's perspective. And see, as Ramesh is a farmer again, right? So he want 24/7 customer support because throughout the day he might be spending at his farm or the agricultural land. So he might not have time to visit the branch during the branch working hours. So that's the reason he's expecting the 24/7 customer support. And he wants to receive SML alerts for the transactions because he might not be able to use the app, or he might not be the tech user. So he want to check that information or the transaction related details as a text format. So that is what, which means we need to even focus on that SMS gateway integration. And for this, we want to focus on customer support resources. Right. We are getting it. So this is how, by understanding that end user's perspective, end user's problem statement, we need to actually prioritize the user stories. Most of the cases, we will simply say the prioritization of the user stories or the backlog is the responsibility of product owner. On what basis your product owner is prioritizing the stories? You can have that conversation with them. You can ask, hey, let's suppose I'm the product owner. You should come to me and ask, hey, Satish, you know what? You are setting up these 12 user stories as a priority for the sprint 6, and then the next 10 user stories as a priority for sprint 7. On what basis? What is the criteria for you to prioritize these stories? Right? Ideally speaking, the product owner should start setting the context why these set of user stories are priority, or what is the end user problem statement we are targeting to address by implementing this set of user stories. This step or this approach will should help the team understand why we are implementing these user stories or as part of the current sprint. Right? So, Hari, going back to your initial statement when you mentioned, right? By setting up what we are doing and why we are doing, that is what helps the team members also to think through how effectively we can do, or is there any innovation, or is there anything we can do differently, which helps the end-to-end implementation perspective.
Yes.
Right? Are you good, folks? Are we on track?
Yes. Yes, Santosh. Satish.
Yeah. So I'm just using the tool because like we did a similar workshop for one of the company, one of the client, where they the target folks are like the product owners, product managers. They wanted to go through how they can make use of these AI tools for their day-to-day implementation. So that's where I did all these use case for their demo. But hey, you know what? You don't have to break your heads, even irrespective whether you are using. You might not be a expert in using the AI tool. Start using this in a simple, effective way. Start with giving the information, not the confidential information. I'm just scrolling up again. Start with giving the feedback which you're capturing into this as a online the online banking feedback which you captured or the consolidated. Start giving that as an input. Ask the tool to start helping it. I'm using a free version, folks. It's not a paid version, right? So I clearly set that context. So whatever that information you can share, which is not confidential, which is not client specific, which is not user sensitive information, share that generic information. Start building your personas, customer journey map. Start what should be your key performance indicators, what should be your OKRs, what should be how your product roadmap should look like, everything. So that is how we can start implementing or bringing up that effective products into the market. Right? So this I did in a different way. First, I just gave a generic example. See, consider yourself as a product manager for one of the banking organizations. Help me to define the vision, strategy, roadmap for the next 5 years. Focus of the current organization is to improve the net promoter score from 50 to 60% and to expand rural market by 15%. I just gave this as a generic statement as a starting point. So what is it? If you observe, it is giving that like establish more physical branches and ATMs in the underserved rural areas, partner with local business and community organizations to build and trust awareness, introduce financial literacy programs, or develop mobile and internet banking solutions tailored to the rural market, ensuring accessibility and ease of use. So some of them are already covered in that. But I mentioned if we start with a generic statement like this is how your vision, strategy, roadmap might look like. But if you start doing that empathy step and start collecting, capturing that feedback or information inputs from your end users, target end users, and start giving that as a input, the entire perspective, the entire roadmap was changed by the same tool, right? So that's the difference between, if I have to go back, that's the difference between defining and implementing versus empathizing and then defining and implementing it. That's the main important step of that design thinking, empathy. Start understanding your end users' perspectives. So I'm repeating it multiple times. That's the we might be doing all the other steps, but we might be missing that empathizing step, or we might not be focusing on that. Whatever role we are playing at the organization, we need to start bringing that perspective to the organization, to the product owner, to the teams. Just don't blindly define and build whatever we are implementing or whatever we want to implement. Right? We are good?
Yes.
Yeah. So that's from my side. Yes, the floor is open. You can have any questions, any discussions or anything.
Yeah. So, Satish, can't we have one, workshop where we all agree for that kind of a topic and we'll do the hands-on on our design
Definitely.
thinking along with the, so we can create a team. Someone will, represent PO, someone will represent Scrum Master or different roles and responsibility. So that would be really great if we'll have that kind of a workshop for an hour or so based on everyone availability.
Definitely. That is one thought on my mind, Pranay. Thanks for bringing that. So we will definitely plan that. So I will check the availability of the majority of the folks, and we will schedule. Like I prefer maybe some 3 hours workshop, 2 to 3 hours, so that like we can start from. I will try to generate that customer feedback perspective. I will provide it as an input to all of you. So it is up to you whether you want to use any AI tool like the way how I use, or you want to do that analysis from your side. We can create the smaller groups and we can start doing that workshop.
Yeah.
Only then we will be able to understand the effectiveness of the concept.
Right. So, because any one of us, if we have a plan to go with this kind of a session with a customer, so before that we must have a proper, or our foundation must be strong, then only we can go ahead with the customer.
Definitely, right? So that is what even we propose, we plan. So we will do that.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah.
And yes.
Yeah, I totally agree with what Pranay said. Right? See, the thing is that we knew the concept, but each one of us who's working in a real-time industry are not implementing what we knew. Otherwise, we are not having the chance of implementing those things. See, here as a group, if we have that, it's not about the implementation. If we play the role play stuff, that gives a real picture about what it is actually rather than reading and hearing, right? So this is a very good chance that we can do a role play in order to understand how things work really, rather than having the sessions, right. Role play gives a real picture. Oh, this is how it is should be. This is in real time environment. This is the thing that we are doing. So as I totally agree with what Pranay as well as you said, please have this type of sessions so that we can be part of this will be part of this and this.
Yeah. So seems like this is a first session, so that give a context or the background, and we have little bit
Yes.
foundation being prepared. Now we are ready for a hands-on.
Hands-on, yes.
Definitely.
That's
So
what I said as a role. Yes.
that's what I do typically, right? So I did this similar exercise with the product folks, like the product managers, product owners. We typically go through the concept, so that like whoever is attended, whoever is interested, so we will get to know, and then we will start doing the hands-on simulation of the same thing, whatever we learn. So that way, it is like rather than me speaking or sharing, we will get to know the actual problem statement and actual issues during the implementation.
Yeah.
Right? So that helps each of us to understand how we can implement it, or how we can bring this effectiveness in our organizations or in our teams.
True.
Right? Yes. So we will plan that, we will schedule, and we will get it done. And we will try to come up with couple of use cases or the scenarios, what the problem statements you want to handle or the discuss, and accordingly you will go ahead with that.
Yeah, and one suggestion, Satish, maybe the example. So I think since we all are from a from IT background, from agile background, so that would be good if we start using little complex use case instead of too generic. So that would be one
Sure,
of the suggestion.
definitely.
Yeah, that's fine. Satish,
Yes, Murli.
hey, you want to continue? I have some other question, not. See.
So, Pranay, I had got a complex use case, like you mentioned, right? So, I had to go and do a session for the one of the what do you say? The car manufacturing company to do a session for their product managers and product owners on the same design thinking concepts.
Okay.
Right? They are planning to bring up that EV, electronic vehicles. I don't have any background. I don't have any information. I don't have anything as such. So how a novice, I just use the vehicle. That doesn't mean I will become an expert in that, right? So how I can start doing that? So that's where, again, I had to use the help of ChatGPT as a tool. I started, what do you say, asking, hey, this is what the expectation of the company. Like by 2030, they want to reduce their carbon emissions by this much of you percentage. This their end result is the goal. I started giving that as an input to the tool. The tool helped me get some insight. Satish, you know what? You have to get that country specific local regulations. Like example, Tesla, right? So the Tesla, they release the autonomous vehicle in US. They're trying to release in India. The Indian government is not giving the clearance or approval because the Indian rules, regulations, the laws are entirely different compared to US. So the first step which I got to know is that, hey, you need to go and talk to which state or which country you are planning to launch this vehicle. What is that country or the state specific goals? You need to start aligning your product accordingly. Right? So like that, definitely we can take some complex situation. That way we can also think through what might happen, less than just taking a online shopping cart or a Google, I mean the banking example, which is like easy to discuss, easy to figure out. So we can start taking a complex situation and accordingly we can go ahead with that.
Yes.
Yes,
And the
Murli?
and the simulation which I have attended previously. So since with you, Satish, it's more than I think 2 year, more than 2 year I think with you attending the program and different simulations. So that's really help in a real time. So really, I would like to thanks to you, Satish.
Definitely, yes. So, and the simulation we will plan, and not just this simulation, we are planning for other simulations also, like from the safe concepts perspective or from any Scrum Master or product owner related simulation. We will schedule and we will publish that the details with the teams.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Satish,
Yes,
I
Murali.
have some hypothetical question related to this what we are discussing. Probably it may be hypothetical. I'm not sure. See, you specified on empathy part, right? See, in this context, why we need to emphasize on empathy? Because we knew what we are going to do. We knew the input. Okay. We are having a set of team, and our job is in order to know, in order to build what is the record on the table, right? So we are there in the client shoes. What is the point of being empathy here? Probably I might be wrong. This is an hypothetical, probably hypothetical questions to you. In order to have clarity, I'm just asking this.
Definitely, right? So, how do we know what is required from the customer perspective? That is where the empathy is coming into context, right? See, again, I'm giving this session example. I have the template. If instead of the design thinking, if we are doing a WSGF workshop today, we could have even done the hands-on simulation today because I have the template, everything ready. Right? Instead of that, we did the design thinking discussion today. Why? Because that is what majority of you are looking for, majority of you feel could be helpful from your context perspective. That is what the empathy I'm talking about, Murali. Rather than doing what I want to do as a product owner or product manager here, I empathized with you all as a target customers or the target end users. What is more relevant from your perspective? I can do 10 sessions or 10 different hands-on discussions. Out of the 10 different hands-on discussions or the topics, which is more relevant from your perspective? That is what the poll I launched in the group, based on which we schedule this session today.
Yeah.
If it instead of this, I can say that, hey, you know what? I have the WGF template ready. Let's do the hands-on session today. Yes, you all might be still happy learning that WGF, but internally you might be thinking, oh, instead of this, we could have got more effectiveness if we have discussed about something else. What is that something else? Only when I talk to you or only when I get the feedback, I will get to know.
Yeah, sorry, once again, sorry to follow up this question. Assume that as a product owner, okay, we are having a discussion with the client and we understand the requirement very clearly, and this is the high priority requirement for the client. We are going to do that. Okay.
Yes.
This is one-to-one, right? So in that case, how we can say that it is a path of empathizing the customer, because the customer requirement is that, and as a vendor or a service delivery manager, we are going to do this. So how it can come into play of empathizing the customer's need here?
Here, the customer we are talking about is not the customer whom we are delivering the IT product. The customer is the actual end user who is going to make use of the product.
Okay.
Not the client manager, right? See, let's suppose
Yeah.
I'm the client manager from this online banking app, right?
Yeah.
Let's suppose you're the vendor and you might be reaching out and asking me, saying that, Satish, can you help me? What's the prioritized scope of work for this release?
Yeah.
We both might be having the conversation. I might say that, Murli, this is a list of features which I want to implement. Go ahead and get it done. How I, as the customer stakeholder, got to know about what is relevant from my banking end users.
Yeah. I got it. Thanks.
Right? So the actual end users we are talking about when we say empathy, the customer is not the customer for whom we are working for, the customer who is actually making use of the product.
Yeah. I got it. Yeah, thanks.
So that's where my point is. we might not be getting that information. For example, one of my cousin is working for a Google Pay product, right? For Singapore, not India, for the Singapore. So when I had the similar conversation, his perspective is, Satish, how do I get to know what the customer of Singapore is going to make use of Google Pay? How do you get to know sitting in India? That is what his question. Right?
Yeah,
Valid.
yeah.
How can we know that? Because we can't go and do that actual interaction with the customers any point of time. That is where my point is that empathizing step, whether it is happening or not, we might not be aware, or we might not be shared that information or that pointers, what is captured, what is happened as part of that empathizing step.
Okay.
However, we can ask. There is no wrong, no harm and nothing wrong in asking. Even the client, Satish, can you help the team? It's not to help me as a Scrum Master. Can you help the team understand the logic or the criteria on what basis these set of user stories are prioritized for this coming release? What is the problem statement of the target customers which we are trying to solve by prioritizing this set of features? Once we start having that question or that conversation, that's when we will get to know the actual ground reality of the problem statement.
Yeah, I got that. Satish. Thank you very much for giving this in very detailed explanation in the way that I can understand the reality.
Right? You're good?
Yeah, yes.
Yes. Any other questions?
No.
Yeah. So, yes, so we will schedule the hands-on discussion, and all of you, let me know what critical or complex use cases or scenarios we can take, so that like we can start working on that and we can take it up further.
Yeah. Some kind of a banking security or something like that. Still, I'm not sure. So just coming in my mind.
Okay. Yeah. Banking security. Okay. Can take up that.
Where the legal obligation, all those things. Yeah.
Sure. We can. Yeah. I mean, need not be right now.
Yeah.
Just ping me or in the group.
Yeah.
Feel free to add your points, thoughts, whenever we get some idea. We can start doing that.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you good?
Yeah, yes.
Anything else? Anyone want to discuss?
No.
Yeah.
Nothing
Okay.
from the side.
Yeah. Thanks everyone. Thanks for your time today. So again, apologies, I haven't prepared any slides from my side. I just want to give a walkthrough of the concepts end to end, and then we will schedule some the hands-on activity, and we will take it further.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Thanks a lot, Satish. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Bye bye.
Bye.